Hi, and welcome to Tameside School Admissions Mythbusters. These are some of our most common questions which we get asked on a regular basis, which are all myths. Firstly, is it first come, first served? So, this is not true, and any application which is made before the closing date, which is the 31st of October every year, are dealt with on time. Whether your application is made on the 1st of September or the 31st of October, it doesn't guarantee you a place at any of your preferred schools, and all applications made within that time are dealt with in the first round of on time applications. School places. So each school in any authority has a set published admissions number, which is often referred to as a PAN number. Each school may have a different PAN number to the neighbouring school. Some schools take in 150 pupils, some schools take in 270 pupils. Each school is filled up with applications, and we don't hold any places back for appeals or children who later move into the area. Making your high school application should be done to the local authority where you pay your council tax to, but you can add any school preference on there, whether that be in or outside of Tameside. You can add up to 6 preferences, and we highly advise that all parents use all 6 preferences. Before completing your application, we advise that you should have already attended the open evenings for the schools in your local area and have also read the Tameside Moving On booklet. Within this booklet, it lists the oversubscription criteria for each high school within Tameside. It also advises the statistics from the previous years. We are happy to advise parents before they make their application of the distances from the home address to their preferred schools. Having this information would then allow you to look at the previous year's statistics, the oversubscription criteria, and see whether your child would have gained a place in a previous year. This is always a good indication, but it never guarantees places as you cannot predict what applications will come in. When choosing which order to put your preferences on the application, you should always put your most preferred schools as number 1 and your least preferred schools as number 6. All applications are dealt with in an equal preference basis, so adding a school as number 1 doesn't guarantee you a place any more than as a preference 6. Your applications will be ranked within each school's oversubscription criteria and will be given a ranking. Some schools have 600 applications, so they would rank them 1 to 600. Those who rank the highest will gain a place at that school. Some children are lucky enough to rank highly enough on more than one school's list. This is where your preferences are important, as if this happens, we will always allocate the highest preference that we can. Every year, we do have parents who query why they got their second preference when they would have preferred their third. It's really important to ensure that these are definitely the order that you want them, as if you are given your third preference, you would go on the waiting lists for schools number 1 and 2. The preferences below, whichever school you've been allocated, are classed as no longer required. An example of why preferences are important is nearly every year we do have parents who contact us on National Offer Day who are not happy with their allocated school. It may be they live in Ashton and they applied for a place at St Damian's. Maybe their child wasn't baptised Roman Catholic and therefore didn't get a place. They may have then been allocated a place at Rayner Stevens in Duckingfield. They are quite concerned about the distance and query why they didn't get a place at Great Academy when it's down the road from their home. But unfortunately, Great Academy may have been full with people who put it on their application. Also, we have some parents in Tameside who wish for a single sex education for their children. Some parents only put Fairfield High School for Girls on their application for their daughter. If they don't rank highly enough for a place at Fairfield High School for Girls, they are then allocated at the next closest school to the home address which has a place. This isn't always in your hometown. Some children do have to travel across borough for school places. We have some children in Droylsden who didn't get a place at Droylsden or Loris and are travelling to Denton Community Academy for a school. Where possible, we do always try to give children the school of their choice. However, they do have to rank highly enough in the oversubscription criteria to gain a place there. For example, I might live in Mottram, and therefore my preferred school may be Alder. I've looked at the oversubscription criteria, and the previous year my child would not have gained a place. So therefore it's important that I list some extra preferences on my application. If I didn't, it's likely I would be allocated a place at Longdale High School. However, if I would have put All Saints Catholic College and Hyde High School on the application, I may have gained a place there. However, if it is not on your application, you are allocated a place after everyone else's preferences have been looked at, and you are given a place at the next closest school to your house which has a place. And this isn't always a preferred school for a parent or a child. The distance may be quite far from the home, so it's important to attend all the open evenings, read the oversubscription criteria and the moving on booklet. Once you've done this, if you've got any questions, please do contact us. You can appeal for any school which you have been refused a place at. If you were given your second preference, you can still appeal for your first preference. You cannot appeal for any preferences which were listed lower than the school you were allocated. Appeals are submitted by an online form available on the Tameside website. These are logged by Democratic Services, who will schedule all the appeals and write out to you letting you know when your appeal will be. They set a closing date every year, and appeals which are submitted before the closing date are guaranteed to be heard before September and usually take place in the summer months. Appeals submitted after the closing date are not guaranteed to be heard before the start of the new academic year and may be scheduled in September or October after your child has already started at their allocated school. Waiting lists are set up approximately 2 weeks after National Offer Day. For a school outside of Tameside, you would contact that local authority directly. The waiting lists are ranked by the oversubscription criteria, in which the same way school places are allocated. This is not first come, first serve, and the places on the waiting list can move up or down depending on other applications and where they place within the oversubscription criteria. Being on a waiting list doesn't guarantee that a place would ever become available at the school, as you are waiting for other children to give up their places at that school before we can offer places from the waiting list. The waiting lists are automatic, so if you've requested a school that you were not given a place at, your child will be added to the waiting list. If you were given a preference and you are happy with that school, you should request your child to come off the waiting lists for the preferences above, as if a place became available, we would automatically change the allocated school and you would receive a letter after the allocation had been changed. If you are at the top of a waiting list and a place becomes available, we will automatically offer it you. We would not contact you beforehand, therefore, you would lose the place at your allocated school. So it's highly important that you contact school admissions if you are happy with your allocated school so that the allocation does not change later on in the year. For children in Tameside with an EHCP, which is an education, health and care plan, you do not need to make an application through Tameside Admissions. You can liaise with your caseworker about which schools you would like your child to attend. However, if you do make an application to Tameside Admissions, we will advise the SEN team of which schools you have listed on your application. However, the school which you are granted on National Offer Day will be the school which the SEN team have advised us they are naming on your statement. Thank you for taking the time to watch our Mythbusters video. We do hope that this gives some clarity on some of the questions which we are asked quite often. But if you do have any further questions, please do contact us before you make your application, as we are happy to give you as much information as we can to ensure that you will be happy on National Offer Day. Thank you.